Okay, let's just jump right in. Have you ever, tried to fix a squeaky door hinge by deciding to paint the window instead?
Uh-huh.
Because honestly, that's basically what most of us are doing when we're chasing that really stubborn, knotty pain. You know, the one right in
Yeah.
the right neck and shoulder
Right.
blade?
It's probably the number one complaint you hear about,
Yeah.
especially for specialists working on posture and structure. People pour money into massages, PT, chiropractic adjustments.
Right, trying to dig out that knot.
Exactly. They're working that deep spot in the right scapula, and yet, well, the ache just keeps coming back
Yeah.
every single time. You just don't get lasting relief.
And that right there, that lack of success, that's the big clue, isn't it? So today we're going to dive into the body's, let's call it, secret wiring diagram, because that nagging pain you feel specifically in that right shoulder zone,
Mhm.
well, chances are, 80% of the time, it's probably not actually coming from your spine or a tight muscle there.
That's the key insight.
We're going below the rib cage today. We're going to find the real source. Our mission really is to understand this surprising link between that constant ache and, well, an organ most people don't think about much, the gallbladder.
It's such a critical connection. And yeah, it's one that conventional health often just misses. The vast majority, really, of this specific right-sided tightness or spasm or pain, it's a classic case of referred pain.
Referred pain, like a distress signal from somewhere else entirely.
Exactly. It originates below the diaphragm, but you feel it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, feeling a headache when the actual issue is maybe down in your foot.
Yeah.
It's that kind of disconnect.
Okay, so let's get practical. Talk about the setup down there. We've got this small little sac, right? The gallbladder, sort of tucked up under the right rib cage. A holding tank.
Pretty much, yeah. Think of it like this.
Mm-hmm.
Your liver, it's busy making bile all the time, nonstop. And it sends that bile over to the gallbladder, which acts like a concentrator. Imagine turning a big watery cup of coffee into a tiny, really potent espresso shot. That's what the gallbladder does to bile.
Making it super strong. Why?
Because that concentrated bile is absolutely essential. It's primarily made of cholesterol, and this is crucial, bile salts. So when you eat fatty foods,
That pizza night.
pizza night, exactly, the gallbladder squeezes, it contracts, and shoots that super concentrated bile, which acts like a really powerful detergent, basically, into your small intestine. Its job is to break down all that grease.
Okay, detergent for fat. Makes sense. But what if the detergent is, broken? What happens if things are out of whack? Say your cholesterol is high, but you're low on those important bile salts.
Well, that's where the problem starts. Instead of that effective liquid detergent, you get something called bile sludge, and it's exactly what it sounds like.
Sludge. Don't sound good.
It's not. It's thick, it's sticky. It's actually the stage before you get gallstones.
Yeah.
It happens long before that. And this sludge, it essentially starts clogging up all the tiny pipes, the little ducts inside the liver, and the gallbladder itself.
Oh.
Think about pouring like solid bacon grease down your kitchen sink every single day, eventually. Nothing's going to flow right. It gets all backed up.
Yikes. Okay, so pipes are clogged.
Yep.
And this is where the misery connection comes in, right? This whole clogged pipe situation starts causing issues like swelling, inflammation, pressure, building up right there under the right ribs.
Exactly. And that pressure inevitably starts pushing on the body's internal, well, you called it a hotline earlier, the phrenic nerve.
The phrenic nerve, I've heard of that. Isn't that the main nerve for breathing? Controls the diaphragm.
That's what it's famous for, controlling the diaphragm so you can breathe. But the fascinating thing about the phrenic nerve is that it's a two-way street.
To it.
Yeah. It doesn't just send signals down to the diaphragm. It also carries sensory information back up towards the neck area. And anatomically, it runs right over the outer surface of the liver and the gallbladder. So when those organs get congested, swollen, enlarged because of that bile sludge,
The nerve gets irritated.
the pressure triggers the nerve. It sends the signal.
Hold on, though. This is the bit I get stuck on. If the problem is down there, near the liver or gallbladder, why doesn't my brain just say, hey, your liver area hurts? Why specifically the shoulder? Does the brain always get the signal wrong? Or could it sometimes actually be the shoulder?
That's a really good question. So the brain basically interprets the signal based on where that nerve pathway ends up, or rather originates. The phrenic nerve roots, they actually start high up in the neck.
Oh, in the neck.
Yeah, in the cervical spine, specifically around the C3 to C5 vertebrae. So when the irritation happens way down low, affecting the nerve near the gallbladder, the brain receives the distress signal, but maps it to the area it knows best for that nerve's starting point.
Which is the neck and shoulder.
which is the neck and shoulder region.
Yeah.
It's like getting a call from a blocked number. You know someone's calling, but the caller ID is scrambled. And you know it's likely referred pain because typically real structural shoulder issues, they usually feel better or worse with specific movements or respond well to direct treatment like massage or physio.
Right.
This referred pain, it just snaps right back as soon as you stop pressing on the source because the underlying congestion down below hasn't actually changed.
Got it. So the brain gets the message, but the return address is wrong, basically. Sends the fire trucks to your shoulder instead of your liver area, the ultimate neurological snitch.
Oh, yeah, you could call it that.
Okay, this explains so much. Why rubbing the shoulder feels good for a second, but it's like trying to put out a fire in the basement by, I don't know, hosing down the roof.
Precisely. The pain is absolutely real, no question. But its origin story, completely non-spinal for most people with this pattern.
Okay, so if this gallbladder congestion, this sludge, is the real villain for, what, 80% of people with this pain, we need the why. What's causing the sludge in the first place? Let's, make a fun list of everything modern life throws at us that messes this up. It seems crazy we jump to surgery or injections when it might just be, basic chemistry.
We can definitely break it down. There are maybe 4 main lifestyle areas that contribute. Number 1 is hormonal, particularly estrogen dominance.
Estrogen.
Yeah. We see this connection pretty often in women who are on, say, hormone replacement therapy or maybe birth control pills. Excess estrogen seems to directly impact bile quality, making it thicker, more sluggish.
Interesting. Okay, what's next on the list? Probably things our poor liver has to deal with constantly.
You got it. Certain medications put a real strain on the liver. Statins are a big one.
Hmm.
Ironically, they block cholesterol production, but cholesterol is a key ingredient for healthy bile.
Huh. Weird paradox.
It is. Also, some antibiotics, certain antidepressants, they all demand a lot from the liver. And if the liver's already working overtime or compromised, its ability to produce good quality, free-flowing bile just plummets.
Okay, hormones, meds, what else? Probably the fun stuff, right?
Well, yeah. The third and fourth categories kind of merge together. Things like excessive alcohol consumption, just general junk foods.
Like usual suspect.
The usual suspects. But maybe the biggest driver, overdoing it on refined carbohydrates. So lots of sugar, starches, grains, bread, pasta, sort of thing.
Why carbs specifically?
Because the body actually needs healthy fats in the diet to signal the gallbladder to contract regularly and keep the bile flowing. When we eat a diet that's super high in carbs and lower in healthy fats, the gallbladder just doesn't get the signal to empty often. It just sits there.
And the bile gets old and thick, sludgy.
Exactly. It stagnates and thickens into sludge.
Man. So we've basically ticked off the entire modern lifestyle checklist for making sludge. Okay. But before someone listening throws out everything in their kitchen, how can they know for sure if this is their problem? You mentioned a test, like a quick check.
Yes. A very quick, really powerful self-test. We need to manually check for that congestion we talked about, the pressure on the phrenic nerve pathway.
Okay, how do we do it?
Right. So you're going to take your fingers, maybe 2 or 3, and press firmly up underneath your right rib cage. Find where the ribs end, and just below that bone line, press into the soft tissue there.
Okay, pressing up under the right ribs.
Yeah, push inwards and slightly upwards. Now, gently probe around back and forth in that area until you find a spot that feels like a knot, or maybe it's just really tender, maybe even a bit painful, a congested
You
spine.
found it. Okay, it's definitely tender there. Now what?
Okay, once you've found that spot, hold firm, steady pressure right on it. Don't rub, just hold. Now, while you're holding that pressure, stop and just mentally check in with your right neck and shoulder. Don't move your shoulder or anything, just notice the feeling. That familiar tension, that deep ache, maybe near the shoulder blade, or even if you get pain down the arm sometimes. Did it just, instantly ease up? Did it lessen or maybe even disappear completely?
Whoa, okay. Yeah, that's noticeably better. Instantly.
Right. If that right neck, shoulder, or that scapular area loosens up instantaneously like that, you've pretty much confirmed it. The root cause of that pain is very likely the congestion happening below your diaphragm.
Wow.
This test helps verify that non-spinal origin. Remember, we said over 80% of people with this specific right-sided pattern. You just prove the connection, you put pressure on the source, relieve the irritation on the phrenic nerve pathway, and boom, the referred pain signal stops. Just like that.
That instantaneous relief is wild. That's the real aha moment. Okay, so this confirms it's probably not my shoulder blade being stubborn, it's my gallbladder plumbing.
Essentially, yes.
Which means the fix isn't more deep tissue massage or painkillers, right? It's got to be about fixing the sludge itself, chemistry and diet.
Exactly. You can't drug this away, you can't stretch it away, you can't massage the sludge out. You have to address the chemistry.
So what are the actual fixes? What do we need to do to clear this up?
It's generally a two-part approach. First, you've got to remove the main triggers we talked about. So cut back significantly on the alcohol, the junk food, and especially those refined carbohydrates and sugars.
Okay, elimination first. Makes sense. What's part two?
Part two is actively helping to thin out that thick, sludgy bile. And you can do that by adding specific supplements. Particularly helpful are purified conjugated bile salts. One really effective one is called TUDCA.
TUDCA. Okay, TUDCA.
Yep. TUDCA stands for taurosodioxycholic acid. It's known to be really fantastic at helping to liquefy that thick sludge, making the bile flow properly again.
So finding specific bile salts like TUDCA helps turn the sludge back into, well, detergent.
That's the goal. And thinning the sludge often has other nice side benefits too. It can be good for your eyes, your brain function, even your pancreas. But it's not just about adding supplements like Magic Bullet.
Right, there's always a catch.
Well, not a catch, but context. Remember, bile salts are actually made from an amino acid called taurine. So you need to make sure you're getting enough taurine in your diet or supplementing it so your body has the raw materials it needs to produce its own healthy bile salts.
Ah, okay. So it's not just about cleaning up the mess, but also giving the body the building blocks to make the good stuff again. Taurine. Got it. Anything else needed?
Yeah, there are a couple of key minerals, cofactors really, that are essential for the whole process of making and using bile correctly. Those are zinc and magnesium.
Zinc and magnesium. Okay.
Without enough of those trace minerals, your body just can't efficiently synthesize the quality bile it needs to break down fats properly and, prevent that sludge from building up in the first place.
This whole system, it feels incredibly complex, all this chemistry, which makes this little historical tidbit you mentioned earlier even funnier. Like, we understand bile pretty well now, but way back when, people were totally baffled by it.
Oh, completely baffled. If you go back to the ancient Greeks, maybe around 500 BC, they knew bile was important, listed it as one of the body's essential fluids, the humors, but its actual function, total mystery.
I get to think.
They basically only knew one thing for sure. If bile got stuck, if it didn't flow out, if it became stagnant, that was really bad news. Everything went wrong. They honestly thought bile itself offered zero advantage, that its only role was potentially causing harm if it hung around too long.
Wow. So they saw the consequences of sludge, but had no idea about the benefit of healthy flowing bile. They missed the whole point.
Completely. It actually wasn't until the mid-1800s, believe it or not, that scientists finally had that practical aha moment you talked about.
What happened then?
Well, they finally managed to extract bile properly and started studying its chemical properties. And they realized, hey, this stuff works just like soap, like a household detergent. It could literally clean grease right off your hands.
Ah, the detergent connection.
That was the click. If it cleans grease outside the body, it must be what helps the body break down fatty foods inside the body. Finally, the function made sense.
That's fascinating. It's such a perfect illustration, isn't it? Sometimes these incredibly annoying modern problems, like this shoulder pain, the real solution lies in understanding and fixing a really simple, almost ancient physiological plumbing issue.
It really is. And the core takeaway, I think, is just remembering that when pain seems really stubborn, really stuck in one spot, the problem might actually be systemic, somewhere else entirely.
Yeah. Your shoulder might be the one yelling the loudest.
Uh-huh.
But it could just be your digestive system, specifically that gallbladder liver area, sending out a distress signal using that sneaky phrenic nerve wire.
Exactly. And knowing this now gives you, and everyone listening, a really powerful, quick tool, that simple self-test.
Right. You can save yourself potentially a lot of time, frustration, maybe even money by just doing that quick check under the right ribs. It helps you figure out, is this likely a structural thing in my shoulder, which is actually less common for this pattern, or is it this much more common referred congestion issue? And if it is the congestion, the solution doesn't have to be super complicated. It's about clearing up that internal plumbing, mainly through those dietary changes and maybe some targeted nutritional support we discussed.
It's a good reminder of how interconnected everything inside us really is. We often forget that.
Absolutely. So maybe the final thought to leave everyone with is this. If a clog in your internal plumbing, way down under your ribs, can cause such a specific pain signal seemingly miles away in your shoulder, Well, what other aches, pains, or discomforts might we be feeling that are just, misreported distress signals coming from overlooked organs elsewhere in the body?
Hmm. That's definitely something to think about.